All right, hi everybody. Thank you for joining our monthly Eloqua User Group meeting. Appreciate you guys taking the time. We always like to give you guys everything straight. So I'll tell you, we have over 150 people who have registered. Of those, 120 plus are not Oracle or Sojourners. And we do see about 30 of you hopped on here. So we still have a bunch of people who are hopefully going to join us. We usually get about half that show up. So probably pretty typical to what many of you see with registrations and attendees for your webinars, as far as like half come and half just register to get the on-demand webinar. So to that point, we're going to record this. We are recording it right now. If you have to pop out early, no worries. Life happens or other things come up. We will send you the recording this afternoon. So once again, thank you. I am your host. Most of you guys already know me. I'm in New York right now and also growing my hair out, so hence the hat. But here's a picture from just the other day in the Catskill Mountains with our pups hiking before some snowmobiles came by and everything went crazy. Anyway, I've been in the marketing world the last 16 years and been enjoying it the whole time. I'm using Eloqua as in one fashion or another as a practitioner for 4 years. I still use it as a practitioner here at Sojourn. I help with our marketing. Kristen Connell heads up our marketing. We both actually do a lot of execution in our Eloqua. And I also have been a consultant predominantly on Eloqua, but I've learned a few other marketing automation platforms along the way, not to the depth of Eloqua, but nonetheless, I have been grateful to help you guys get together as Eloqua users and host this meeting and plan it. So if you ever have feedback on how we can run it better, I'm your gal to let know. I won't be offended by anything, but I'm open to all feedback. Ideas for topics. We heard loud and clear last year. We do polls every couple of user group meetings. We poll you to ask, typically one of the questions is what you're most challenged with Eloqua. And the number one thing every time, actually it has been, is reporting an Eloqua Insight specifically. So we're gonna have another session with some tips on that. Piotr's gonna get into that today. But we are going to have more this year to really try to tackle the top things you guys have said you're having challenges with. So I will do another poll probably next month. We just did one in December. So anyway, so there's my pups, cute dogs, now leaving the screen. Here's our agenda for today. So I'll give you guys some quick reminders. You may have heard Oracle has a content management platform. If you don't know what it is, like Beaker there, no worries. I think that one's Beaker from the Muppets. Anyway, they crack me up. Bob from Oracle's product team is going to go through that and help us understand just what the platform is, what value it brings, but also because we're Eloqua users, we care about like, well, what does that have to do with my Eloqua world? So he'll also hone in on that and the integration it has with Eloqua, which is pretty straightforward once you know about it. And then Piotr's going to go into Eloqua Insight reporting tips and tricks. He's got 2 specific areas he's going to hone in on. And then we'll have the open forum for questions, or if you'd like to share any tips, please feel free. We'd love for that to happen. I can unmute people that would like to speak. If you have any questions throughout this meeting, if you can put them in the Q&A, we'd really appreciate that. It makes it easy to manage them. And again, we're recording this. Try not to swear. If you do, or adults, we can get through it. So with that, the reminders really quickly here. So I mentioned this, I think the last 2 user group meetings, but it's still relevant. The Eloqua Q1 release, or 21A as they're calling it, is happening. It may have already happened for your Eloqua instance by the pod that you're on. So there are still a good number of clients that have not been upgraded yet to the new release. And we get asked by folks that may not understand how Eloqua upgrades work. You don't have to do anything. Your Eloqua instance automatically gets upgraded, or updated is really the better word. You can't opt out of it. It usually fixes bugs. There's new features added. We had an Eloqua product manager last month that went through more of the asset management focused updates that are coming to Eloqua and improvements in a lot of cases. So you want to get more details. There's some other cool things happening with this release. For those of you that have Salesforce Eloqua integration and are dabbling with the Salesforce integration app, they are improving it, thankfully, every quarter. It wasn't perfect when it went GA, which no software is, but thankfully, they are definitely putting into each one of these releases fixes there and new features where things were perhaps lacking. And I just wanted to point out secondarily here, there's free training. So if you're new to Eloqua or if you're old to Eloqua, I revisit things just to keep myself fresh. 2 recommendations. One is the Help Center. So Eloqua's Help Center will link you out to YouTube videos. There are a ton. So these are in categories. So for instance, if you want to get some good videos to watch about insight and reporting and also dashboards you can build or view in Eloqua, there are 8, 9 videos right here. And some of them are super short, like less than 2 minutes. Well, most of them are actually super short. So nonetheless, these are helpful, at least to get like an understanding of, like, for me, I struggled with how to send a scheduled report out of Insight for a long time until this morning when I really just paid attention to the video that I was watching right here and then did it in our Eloqua instance. And I was like, geez, I wish I had just done the training first instead of trying to figure it out on my own in Insight over the last few years, because it was way easier to see somebody else do it and show me how to do it. The other area that you can go to is Oracle University. You don't have to have a paid subscription to do the free training, hence the word free. That said, the Eloqua Explorer training is quite basic. It's like an hour or so worth of content, so it's not meant to be like, here's how to use Eloqua from beginning to end. Eloqua, Marketo, Pardot, HubSpot, the good marketing automation platforms out there are not something that you learn in like 8 hours. You know, they take time to go through the training, but also to just get in there and use it. So we get asked by folks about that quite often, like, how quickly can we become an Eloqua Pro? It's like, well, it takes time. It's, you know, definitely helpful to do the training though. All right, so those were just things I wanted to remind folks of. And then the next thing is that our next time we get together for this meeting is going to be, as always, the 3rd Thursday of the month. So March 18th, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And I will invite you guys all after this, so no worries to jot down that link or register today even. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Bob from the Oracle Product Management team. I'm in New York, he's in, I think, New York City, and it's cold and snowy here. But Bob, anyway, enough about that. Everybody's dealing with fun weather, I think, right now. But we'd love to hear from you about Oracle Content Management. So I'm going to stop sharing, and the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Karin. Thanks for having me join. Hello, everyone. It's nice to be part of this group for the day. What I thought I would do is just, I've got 15 minutes. I've got about 80 slides that I can just start rifling through here. I'm just kidding.
Right, that's great.
Slides, right? And then I thought I would just show everyone a demo of the capabilities of Oracle Content Management. But just to quickly level set in terms of what we're talking about, right? I mean, you guys are all Eloqua users. And if you look at the overall suite of Oracle customer experience solutions, this is really a representation of it, right? So obviously Eloqua falls into the marketing bucket, and then we have other connected solutions for CRM and sales, commerce, and then service. And one of the things, or one of the applications that really sits across all of them is Oracle Content Management, and that's what we're talking about today. And what Oracle Content Management is it's really a connected content hub. It's a content management system, CMS, whatever you want to call it, right? That manages all types of content, digital assets, streaming video, web content, copy, any sort of file or any structured content that you can model can be stored and managed in Oracle Content Management. And then, of course, delivered out to channels that you define. And we have pre-integrated out of the box content management to many of our customer experience applications, of course, Eloqua being one of them. So all of the content that you might manage, produce, prepare, right, for going into a marketing campaign can be prepared in content management and then accessed directly from Eloqua. So if you're in the Canvas area and you're defining a landing page or an email, you can pull assets in directly from content management. So that is essentially what the product is, and I'll show you a demo of some of its capabilities. But this is actually a very timely presentation because we are about to release an enhanced version or an enhanced integration to Eloqua. So right now, how the integration works is when you're in Eloqua, you can basically go into an asset picker and pull out digital assets. In other words, you can add images from the content management system into your Eloqua experiences. Well, there's other types of content that get managed in the content management system beyond just images or videos. So what this new capability will allow you to do is create a structured piece of content like the one you're seeing on the left, where you might define, a hero image, a headline, a subheadlining, a call to action, really a structured piece of content. And that can be delivered as fully formatted HTML that is then embedded and selectable from within Eloqua. And what this essentially allows you to do is improve consistency across channels by leveraging content from a single source. That's one of the benefits of leveraging Oracle Content Management, is you can create content once and then distribute it across to any channels, whether that's your website, whether that's marketing campaigns through Eloqua, something that you might be doing, on a digital assistant or wherever, right? And by leveraging content from a single source, you also then are really creating experiences in less time. You're not, searching for content, you're not recreating and duplicating content. The whole content creation process tends to be more streamlined because you can do a lot of those upfront reviews and approvals and fine-tuning of content, before things get into their destination, such as Eloqua. And this is something that is something that we consider a competitive differentiator in how we go to market in the space, because no other CX vendor out there really provides this capability, embedded into their CX applications, while also providing a full enterprise CMS, right? It's typically one or the other, where you might have an embedded CMS, but it isn't, a full-fledged enterprise CMS. It might be lacking some capabilities, or you're leveraging an enterprise CMS and you don't necessarily have as tight of integration between the enterprise CMS and some of your other applications. So that's really what we're aiming to solve. We want to give you a fully functional enterprise CMS that also is integrated within the applications that you use most. All right, so let's get into the actual demo here. I'll show you what we're talking about, and I'm going to use one of our fictional companies that you may have seen in other Oracle demos. Supremo Interiors, a fictional furniture brand that sells B2B as well as direct to consumer. And they just so happen to be using Oracle Content Management to manage all of their content. So all of their assets, all of their videos, all of their structured content. So when you come into the Oracle Content Management application, this is really where most people work, is in the assets panel. And one of the things that we do with content management is we try to make it really easy to find and discover assets. So over along the left-hand side, you have a whole host of filters available to you to start being able to find what you need. So for example, you might group content into different collections. Maybe I want to see, all the content that's being prepared for my February update or a certain campaign. Super easy to define a collection and drill in based upon collection. And collections can be, very specific to updates, or they can be, high level content groupings as well. So if I just want to take a look at all of my product content, I can drill into, in this case, a bunch of product imagery. It's really however you choose to go through and organize it. Because this delivers content, of course, out to multiple channels, right? It's kind of it works as almost a headless CMS, right? Where you can define any channel and deliver content to that channel. And you can create your own channels here too, like you can launch websites and use the site builder capability. But many people already have their channels defined. So here I can see if I wanted to see what content is going out to Instagram or what content we're making available to Eloqua. You know, in this case, it just happens to be a digital asset and some editorial content. Again, very easy to filter. And then of course, you can also filter down by different types of assets, different statuses. If I just want to see what's currently in review that might be going through a workflow of some kind, I can go through and take a look at that. So we make it pretty easy to find assets, and you can also find assets, of course, by using our smart search capabilities. So if I search for sofa, I can go through and very easily find all of my sofas. You can also see that we're suggesting other keywords based upon how items are tagged. So I can use this to drill into something perhaps more specific, or if there's really a certain type of image that I'm looking for and I want to find other similar images, I can leverage visual search to find things that are visually similar or categorized similarly, which again helps me through my regular workflow process. And these search and discovery capabilities we expose through the Eloqua integration. So when you're pulling in these assets into your Eloqua campaigns, you can use these same capabilities through this UI that we embed into Eloqua. So it makes finding content for your campaigns certainly a lot easier. So here I'm searching for similar chairs, and you can see that a lot of them have come back now. All right, so getting content into the system is super easy as well. And you might be wondering how some of that visual search works on new content. So what I'm going to do is go through and just drag 2 new images into my repository here. And when you add new items to the repository, of course, you have the ability to go through and categorize them. You can associate them to certain tags or collections. If I wanted to add them to collections here, I could go ahead and do that. I can enter my own manual tags, but one of the beauties of the system is we use machine learning to go through and actually inspect what's in the image to categorize it automatically. So if I were to go through it and grab, say, for example, this sofa, and we look at the properties of it, you can see here, it's actually not in a collection. There were no manual tags added, but it's gone through using machine learning to go through and actually categorize it as a couch, a Davenport, a love seat. And all of this then gets used to help you better discover the assets that are available to you in your campaigns. And that's one of the big things that people struggle with content management systems is, well, how do I, actually find content once it's in there? Because a lot of times traditional systems rely on people actually going through and properly categorizing it, which can, of course, can be very subjective. And this really moves to take the guesswork out of that process. So we'll see. I haven't added these new images into the system yet. So let's see how those were categorized. You know what? Not bad. So this is the out-of-the-box model that we're using, and you can, of course, train this to recognize your specific images and items within your images. But we picked up that there's a dining table, a dining area, a dining room, chairs. Actually, I'm quite pleased with how this tagging came out. So it makes it really easy to go in and ultimately find this content, and you can see we've got couch in there as well. So, and it also gets smarter, right? The more content you add into the repository, the more objects it starts recognizing. And I've given this demo a few times, not with these particular 2 images, but we're getting more furniture in here as I use the system, and it gets better and better. So let's go through here. Let's say we're preparing these images for a campaign. I might want to do some simple editing. Super easy to go ahead and open these images up. I might be routing it through a workflow. So if I open this, looks like we've got some text here that might not be relevant. I might want to remove this. I don't want to call my design team. So all I need to do is go through here and edit the image. And I have the ability to do some cropping, rotating. I can watermark it. I can change the image format, really designed to give you some pretty streamlined editing tools here. So I might crop this down, go ahead and save it as a new rendition. This might be my Eloqua campaign image. I'll go ahead and save that. If this is maybe something that I want to get other people's feedback on, I have the ability to go through and start a little bit of, I can go through and annotate the image and start a discussion around it. So if I open up my panel here and go to conversations, you can have a conversation around any asset, which of course helps with the workflow. So if I want to, I can really tag any little area on the asset. I can go through and select an area as well and put a comment. And I can, of course, incorporate other people on my team if I want to flag other individuals that might need to go through and review this. Very easy to do that. And I could, when I'm done editing, submit this for review and then send it through a workflow process. Once that's done, of course, it can be approved and published, but then also, of course, incorporated into other content in campaigns. The same is true for video. So we support the creation, management, editing, and delivery of video as well. So if I were to go through and grab one of my video assets here, and maybe I want to trim a clip to use again on a landing page, very easy to go through and edit my video. I can go in and trim this down. Maybe I want to clip it down into a quick 30-second clip. I can go ahead and crop it, save it as either a new version or new rendition, just like I was working with my image, and of course incorporate that into my campaign. So again, very easy to go through and start manipulating assets. And then of course, any changes that you make are all part of an audit trail. So if I go in to take a look at the properties of this item, you can see for my image in this case, when it was created, when a rendition was added, when it was submitted for review, the renditioning versioned it as well. I can roll back between versions, all typical content management stuff that you would expect. Now, when it comes to actually creating some of those structured content items that you could then deliver as rendered HTML into Eloqua, that's really easy as well. So if I wanted to go through and create a new hero image, for example, that maybe uses my new image. So here I've got the ability to add an image and some content here. And notice we're presenting this in what we call a custom form, which is a tailored interface to create content. So rather than just presenting you with the typical form where you where you have a space for the image and the title and the headline, and it's all just listed out, this is much more visual. And you can create these around any sort of experience that you want. It's just HTML and JavaScript to create a custom form. So I could go through and pull my image in here. I'll grab my new image and put 20% off dining. Check out our new collection. Very easy to go through and add calls to action. I might say, okay, let's go ahead and add this to Eloqua. So that gets published out to the Eloqua channel. And if I want to categorize it, I can go through and add categories. This is just another way to find it. So if I wanted to make it, I could pull in Eloqua audiences here as well, but if I wanted to say I've got my responses audiences, so forgive me, I can associate this to big spenders. This is obviously helps with personalization. And then I can save this and go ahead and see I've got my new piece of content here that can also then be published out. And you can create different previews as well. There's different types of content. So if I've got some product content here, notice when I come into my product content and I edit this, this does display in a typical format where you've got your headline, your product details, what you love about this piece. This is more traditional, a traditional view. But you also, of course, have all the commenting and editing, and then you can preview what that content is going to look like as well. So if I wanted to see what this is going to look like out on my commerce site, I can see all of my content laid out here in a product detail page. This could be done for Eloqua as well. So if I wanted to see what this content will look like on a campaign landing page or with an email, I can do that as well. So it's really designed to create, a visual experience for the content creator. And, that's really the basics. I know I had about 15 minutes to walk through a quick demo and an overview. So I wanted to give you a quick overview, provide a quick demo, intro you to some of the capabilities that are available to you within Oracle Content Management, of course, in the context of Eloqua. So with that, let's see if there are any questions. No questions in the Q&A panel. All right, well, if you have any questions, I see there is one in there. I'll go through and take a look at that. But if there are other questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A panel and I can stay on and answer them.
Thank you, Bob. That was super helpful. So guys, I know there's a lot of folks out there that digital asset management or DAM, a CMS, content management system, the two things together. Like, I think there's a lot of cool things that what Bob just showed us with Oracle Content Management, what it brings. And it has had a different, couple different names over the years, CX Content, not that long ago, but content management, same thing. It's got these powerful pieces to it and that nice tight integration with Eloqua and improvements coming into it as well, beyond like what's already there with the integration with Eloqua today. And, one of the questions was, and I'll say, we'll bring this up now because it comes up a lot. People use Adobe's version of this type of a tool. They have a very similar tool called Adobe Experience Manager. That is a combination of a CMS and a DAM. There are differences, of course, between Oracle Content Management and Adobe Experience Manager. We're not here to go into all the pros and cons of each and try to sell you on them. Of course, if you have Adobe and you like your Experience Manager there are ways to integrate it with Eloqua. Put It Forward is one of the companies out there that makes a lot of apps for Eloqua. And of course, in this case, they have an app for integrating Adobe Experience Manager with Eloqua. Now that costs you money. You have to have Eloqua paid for, you have to pay for Adobe Experience Manager, and you have to pay Put It Forward to connect the two. So one of the big savings is if you have Eloqua, pay for that, and then you have Oracle Content Management, you don't have to pay to integrate the two. That's one of the low-hanging fruit benefits. So anyway, lots of other benefits of Oracle Content Management, but I know that we've had a lot of folks just from clients that we work with as well that have Adobe Experience Manager. And I think different reasons for it, but I think Oracle has done a great job with Bob's help to step up their content management platform. So I think you'll hear about it a lot more because it's one of those platforms in a marketing cloud that makes sense to have when you're ready for it. A lot of people start with marketing automation and then evolve to content management platforms. There's Uberflip, there's a bunch out there, but it's nice to have one that integrates well with your marketing automation platform and it doesn't cost 10 grand plus a year to keep that integration going. So yes, I switched my hat if you guys didn't notice, and I might switch it again. So anyways, I'm gonna stop talking. We're gonna switch topics now. So our next presenter, I'm gonna quickly do my intro slide because I know you guys just can't wait for it, is Piotr. Very exciting, I know. So Piotr, thank you so much for doing this. He's gonna go in to talk to us about Eloqua Insight, show you guys a couple things. He has presented in the past, so if you've been joining us for the last almost year that we've been doing this virtually. It started in April, I believe, of last year once the pandemic hit. Anyway, you may have seen his face before. He has presented in the past on Insight. He is one of our experts at Sojourn for sure on Eloqua Insight and creating custom reports and dashboards. So anyway, without further ado, Piotr, if you could please show us some magic in Eloqua Insight.
So thank you, Karin, for the introduction and for inviting me here.
Certainly.
For those who haven't met me before, my name is Piotr. I'm based in Southeast Poland, working at Sojourn since 2018. I'd like to share with you a bunch of really basic tips and tricks that I find extremely handy in everyday work with Analyzer. I'll try to walk you guys through everything I'm about to present using live examples. And since we are quite short on time, I'll start now. And if there are any questions, please feel free to post it on the chat and I'll try to answer once we finish. All right, first topic is combining values for the column into sets, which is also called binning. It's also known variously as bucketing, categorization, or quantization, and enables you to combine values for the column into sets. You can combine multiple values or ranges of values from a given column into bins to simplify and compress a column of data by reducing the number of possible values or levels represented in the data. So it's basically all about simplification. I would like to show you how to do this step by step, which is why I'll start with creating a whole new analyzers. I'll go for one of the available subject area, which in this case is going to be email analyzers by send date. I will choose one attribute, which is going to be a campaign type. So here's our subject area with all kinds of attributes and metrics. So I'm going to search for the campaign type, but you can choose anything from that list. And one metric, which is going to be a total sends. So we get a very simple report showing a breakdown of total email sent by each campaign type. I'm going to run it right now. All right, we got a full list of campaign types, but now we want to combine them into bins. Let's go back to the criteria. Go to the campaign type attribute settings, which is right here, and click Edit Formula. Using bins, this is the tab right here at the top of the page, we can start creating those. From all available campaign types, I will choose a couple and try to group them. So let's say blog, email, and events. This is going to be our first priority group. Let's add another one. I would go for, I would say, webinar and website. And you can also create a bin for all other values, not yet included in another bin in the list. To do this, you just need to tick the box. So we got 3 different categories. Click OK. Now we can run the report once again. And our column values should now be grouped into bins. And you can also display each member that is a part of the bin by clicking on the bin name right here. There we go. I'm going to quickly save this report as we are going to need that one later. And now I will move to another topic. All right.
For those of you who are newer to Eloqua, this is a full business intelligence platform. So if you're like, holy moly, there's so much stuff in Eloqua Insight, more than like I might have had with HubSpot or Pardot. They don't have BI tools or business intelligence tools that run their reporting. They just give you like a bunch of out-of-the-box reports that you can make minor changes to, but not do what Piotr is showing us today, things like this. So while it is super powerful, it does take time to learn. Oracle BI or Insight in the Eloqua world is what we call it. So anyway, if you're like sometimes overwhelmed by this, just keep that in mind. The power is there. It just takes a little bit more time typically to get to learn it if you want to create custom reports and dashboards. Thankfully, the out-of-the-box reports are pretty easy to run.
That's right. All right, moving on. So now we know how to group single column values into categories, but how to combine columns from one or more subject areas. When selecting columns to combine, we need to keep the following guidelines in mind. The number and data types of the columns to combine must be the same. The number of rows that are returned for each column can differ. You can select column type, a column from the same subject area or from a different subject area, but the columns must have some kind of commonality. So let's go for a completely fresh analysis. Now I'm gonna go for something slightly different. Okay, let's do this. Let's just wait a second. All right, and I'm going to start adding multiple subject areas, which is possible. So we can try to combine all different attributes. So our first subject area is form submission, but I would also like to have, let's say, email analysis, landing page analysis. For example, I would like to have a total number of all different contact activities, such as total form submissions, email opens, and landing page visits. And to reduce the data volume, I will create a very simple report. Let me show you. So we gotta up to 3 different attributes, which is total form submissions, let's say total opens, and total page views. And I'm going to filter that by the Sojourn contacts only to reduce the data volume. All right. I know it takes a while, but I wanted to go through the step by step, which is why I haven't prepared anything before. All right, so we get all like individual metrics for each column. We got a Eloqua contact ID, total form submissions, total opens, total page views for each contact separately. But how to make it total? Let's go to the new calculated measure, which is right here. And now we need to write a very simple formula to get the total number of all activities. So it's basically attribute 1 plus attribute 2 plus attribute number 3. You can select the attribute from here. So we are looking for total form submissions. We need to select and add the column right here. Now we can use the plus operator and add another attribute, which is going to be total opens plus total page visits. Let's give your custom column a name so you can differentiate that in the main table. I will call it a total. Okay. And there we go. We got additional column on the right-hand side. That is basically a combination of all 3 existing columns on the left-hand side. You can use it in multiple ways, and you can also try many different types of operation on a single column. But this was basically to show you how to combine multiple columns, even from multiple subject areas. Right, I'm going to save this one in case we will need that. All right, so this was basically how to group values from a single column and how to combine columns from one or more subject areas. And another thing that I wanted to present today is prompts. So I would like to show you 3 different methods of creating prompts. 2 of those are inline, and the third one is a dashboard prompt. The 2 differences between inline prompt and dashboard prompts is where they are stored and their runtime behavior. A prompt that is created at the analysis level is called an inline prompt because the prompt is embedded in the particular analysis and cannot be added to the other analyses. This kind of prompt allows user to specify the data values that determine the content of the analysis. So when you create an inline prompt, you select the columns and operators for the prompt and specify how the prompt is displayed to the users and how the users select the value. So as I mentioned, I wanted to show you how to set up an inline prompt in 2 ways. First method is to create an initial prompt, meaning that it only displays when the analysis is rendered. After you select the prompt value, the prompt field disappears from the analyzers, and the only way for the user to select different prompt values is to rerun the analyzers. So I'm gonna use the previously created analyzers. The first one. Let's go to the prompts tab. So we got a criteria, results, and prompts. All right.
I know for me, I didn't know what a bin was. I didn't know what a prompt was. So this is great. Thanks for.
This is pretty useful. Like I use it all the time in almost every kind of analyzer. So I hope you like it. All right. We are in the prompt tab. We can click on the new toolbar button to access the prompt type selection list. So what we are trying to prompt for is, in this case, a campaign type. I'm going to add this, click OK. And this is the preview of how it looks like. So we got the whole list of all campaign types, but we already simplified that list using buckets. And we would like to also have it here, right? So we don't really want to have that whole list of campaign types. So let's go back to the criteria. And when you go to the campaign type settings, there is this custom formula that was automatically generated when we created bins. We can basically just copy this custom formula, go to the prompt tab, select the prompt, and we can use this custom formula right here. There is this button called Edit Formula, where we can paste the custom formula from our analyzers. Click OK. And this should be automatically updated, like here. So we got our first priority, second priority, and other. You can use a custom label. For example, priority campaign types. All right, click Save. Let's go back to the home page and run this analysis. And we are being asked to specify the campaign type. Click OK. And voila, we got our report. Once again, we can click on the value, and we got all campaign types that we already grouped using bins formula. Okay, so to select different prompt value now, you need to rerun the analysis, but maybe not necessarily. And this is where I want to show you the other method of creating inline prompts, which works more dynamically. All right, let's go back to our analysis. And I am going to remove a current inline prompt that we've just created. So once again, let's go back to the prompts. We just need to select the column that we prompt for, delete, and it's all removed. Okay, let's go back to the criteria. Let's run the report by clicking results. And what we can do now is we can play with the layout of our table, which is right here. We can edit view of our table. What we can do here is we can add the table prompts right here directly by just dragging and dropping the column that we would like to add to the table prompt. So here's the place where we can customize the layout. And here's the table prompts. And we can just basically drag and drop it right here. Click done. Let's save it. Let's run the report from scratch. And now we can dynamically change the filtering in a real time, which is even more useful, I would say, especially when we don't really deal with like a huge volume of data. This works like really fast. Not sure if you guys see anything because it's really small, but it's working in real time, which is awesome. All right, so this was two methods of creating inline prompts, but what we also have, I know we are running out of time, but I'll try to quickly walk you through this. So prompt that is created at the dashboard level is called a dashboard prompt. And this one is created completely outside of a specific dashboard. And it's stored in the catalog as an object, which can then be added to any dashboard or dashboard page that contains the columns that are specified in the prompt. So this makes them reusable because you can create one prompt and use it many times. So when the prompt object is updated and saved, those updates are immediately displayed in all dashboard where the prompt is used. So when applied to a dashboard or dashboard pages, can filter all or some of the analyzes in a dashboard or multiple analyzes on the same dashboard page. So dashboard prompt is interactive and is always displayed on the dashboard page. So the user can prompt for different values without having to rerun the dashboard. In order to show you how this works, we need at least two separate analyses, which I'm going to quickly create right now. So I'll try to quickly create another analysis based on this one, but I will change one metric to another. I'll just remove the inline prompt from here. So we need two separate reports, one dashboard and one dashboard prompt. I hope we will make it. We got 5 minutes left. Okay. Okay, so this is report number 1. And now I'm going to switch total sends to total opens to make it any different. Let's save it as another analysis. All right. When you go to the new tab, you can choose a dashboard prompt. And we are trying to prompt from for the campaign type. So let's choose email analysis by send date. And it looks exactly the same. It works exactly the same. So we just need to manually add the column that we would like to prompt for, which is campaign type. But we need this custom formula that we've used previously. All right, but since this is going to be a separate object, we need to make sure our column can be prompted. So we go to the column, filter, and there is this operator that allows us to prompt for that particular column. We need to make sure this is selected and saved. And we need to make sure to do this for both reports that we are trying to prompt for. Again, filter, choose the operator to prompt, save. Let's go back to our prompt. I'm going to use the custom formula that we've used previously by copying and pasting it right here. We need to save that. This is our dashboard prompt. Now we need to create very quickly our dashboard. A dashboard is a combination of at least two reports.
Just a quick time check. We've got less than 2 minutes left, Piotr, and I just need a minute to wrap up.
All right, I'll try to make it in a minute.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to add my reports and a dashboard prompt. Save it. And I know that this was fast, and I hope that this will work when I click the run button. But we should end, yeah. Sorry. We should end up with two separate reports and one filter that will automatically update both reports at the same time. I know that we don't have time left to go through this. Hopefully we can schedule that for another meeting. And I know that this was super fast, so let me know if any questions or email me anytime.
Well, thank you. So I will just wrap us up, guys. I know we're at the top of the hour here. Thank you guys for joining. Piotr, thank you for running us through that. We will take you up on that offer for hopefully the March Eloqua User Group meeting on the 18th to maybe do this again and finish it up. So as you guys can see, there's lots of power in, like I mentioned that with Oracle Insight, Eloqua Insight, with it being a full BI tool. You don't have to use this level of granularity, but we wanted to be able to show people more advanced things you could do with Eloqua Insight. Last time Piotr did a demonstration of more basic things, and we had a lot of users saying, I can do that. That was helpful, sort of, but show me more advanced stuff. So hence today with prompts and what he's been showing with bins. So anyway, just keep in mind as well that you need to have the analyzer on your Eloqua user, which is this little checkbox here. Eloqua admins can set this up if you're not an Eloqua admin. And everybody's Eloqua instance, if you're an Eloqua user, you can be an analyzer user. They used to cost more. They don't now. If you have Eloqua Basic, you have 10 users. including 10 analyzer licenses. And with Eloqua Standard, it's 50, Eloqua Enterprise, it's 100 or more. So anyway, I think that's about it. We don't really have time for more questions, but if you do have any questions about content management, please reach out to Bob. FYI, he let us know that there is a 90-day free trial available for Oracle Content Management. Pretty cool. Doesn't happen very often with Oracle that anything is available for free for a period of time. You can reach out to your Oracle rep about that if you want to try it out, and or Bob. And then if you have other questions about content management, you can reach out to Bob, you can reach out to me and I can connect you. And about anything that Piotr has shown with reporting, please just feel free to reach out to me. I will follow up with everybody with this recording in another couple of hours. So keep an eye out for that if you'd like. And I will invite you guys in a couple of weeks to the next Eloqua User Group meeting. If you have any suggestions for topics for it beyond reporting, please let me know. That is it for today. Thank you everybody so much for joining. Really appreciate it and hope everybody has a nice rest of your day and stay warm. Bye everyone. And thank you to Bob and Piotr for presenting. Really appreciate it, guys.
Bye.
Bye.